Happy New Year 2026. My name's Rebecca. You have reached Hedgerow Stitching, and here on this channel I share stitching, sewing, quilting and knitting. Welcome everybody. Hello. I hope you've had a fantastic holiday. I'm so excited to be here today to speak to you and to share with you what I've been doing over the last couple of weeks. I'll start with a couple of finishes and some stitching and go on to a little bit of quilting and some haul and some knitting at the end. I hope you're all well and having a good stitchy week, stitchy weekend. I'd just like to say thank you to everybody who recently subscribed to my channel. That's very kind of you, and I'm so pleased to be making lots of contacts, friends and acquaintances here on this Flosstube platform. Okay, so let's go into what I have been finishing. I thought last year that I needed to tidy up some of my works in progress that have just been hanging around for a long time in some of these drawers here, and I thought I would start with a little bit of wool applique. So this is a Cricket Street wool little pillow house, or little house pillow, sorry. And just some basic wool and blanket stitch. I had cut this out and had it sitting in the drawer for a long time. It's not perfect, but it's okay for me, and this was my little finish. I had all these wools from previous purchases. I think they're Blackberry Primitives wools, and I just put some black felt on the back, stuffed it with poly foam, polyfill, and I've got that on my desk here. I'm ready to stick pins in it. So that was the first little thing I finished. The second one I showed, I had cut this out in my last video, a little needle case. I traced out a pair, drew out a pair, traced it, and then inside I've got all my needles. So all these needles were sitting in my pin cushion, and most of them actually are sewing needles, and I've got a little pin there. It's a little bit floppy, but it will do. I just snipped the edge with pincer scissors, and that's my little needle case. The next finish came out of this book. So it's Rebecca Smith, isn't it? Yeah, Rebecca L. Smith's book on wool applique. And all these projects are absolutely beautiful in here, and I really would like to do some more of this year. And the one I started and finished is this lovely scissor keep or pin keep. You could make it into anything really. And I finished mine. I've made mine into a scissor keep. Very simple. You cut out the shape of the strawberry with a backing fabric and a thing on the back to make a pocket, and then you sew on, and I put beads on mine instead of French knots, and I've got that for my scissors. So there are a couple of wool applique pieces I finished. That sits up there. And another thing I did, I had an order come in from 123 Stitch, and I ordered some of the Mill Hill frames, which I have here. Now these are 6x6 hand painted frames, so I got 3. I got, is this the blue? I think this is the blue or the black. No, this is the blue and the brown, and this is the black. And I managed to pop into the frame Elizabeth Adelsey. This is one of the reproductions I did a few years ago. It's the sweetest little pattern, and I would love to find out some more about Elizabeth Adelsey. So I couldn't find her in the records, but I'm going to have another search over the next couple of days just to see if I can find, or at least narrow her down to an area in the country. But this is one of my sweetest designs. I love this one, even though the threads bled a little bit, but I'm not bothered about that. I don't think Elizabeth would be bothered about that either if that happened to hers. So I've popped that in the frame and going to hang that up somewhere. Pop that over here for now. Another thing I finished, just move those out of the way. Another project I finished up, I have a sampler and I'll show it to you. It's just here on my board. This is Anne Swatridge, and Anne Swatridge lived in Dorset, and she stitched her sampler when she was 12, and this is the sampler. I have it in the archival sheets so they don't get damaged, and this is a beautiful sampler. The border is over one four-sided stitch, so a little bit challenging to stitch. I will chart her completely. I have charted this beautiful vase here and flowers, and I've charted this house here with the hillock of grass. And I took this section here and put it into a little chart, and I've made a sewing bag out of it. It's very nice on here. When I say I will do something, I do it, because I've said it on Flosstube. So I've actually finished this, and I'll show you the colours. Right, and Swatridge's colours for her sampler are these ones here. Now the two sticking out are a yellow and a red, but these are her colours. Lovely vibrant colours, and I've chosen a fabric from I think it's Cedar River Linens, Jodie's range. I'll show you the sewing bag. So this was my finish, and a little sewing bag. I cut out the template myself. I didn't quite centre it on the fabric, but it doesn't matter, it's a bag. And I wonder what this little star represents up here on the house, because I've seen it a couple of times in samplers, and I wonder if that star represents Christ. I'm not sure. I've got it on the top of my windmill sampler. If you looked on my previous video, I have a windmill, and it has this little star as well at the top here. Just curious to know why that's up there. So I made a little drawstring bag. Let's pop that down a minute. I bought this lovely gold cording from Amazon. Gave them a good review because I bought a whole reel, and it was well worth the price, and very good, sturdy, and it doesn't fray at the ends. Excuse me. And I lined the bag inside with some, I think this is French General fabric, and this is an old reproduction fabric that I was sent by a friend, and I'm going to put it into a drawstring bag and use it for my bits and pieces. So this will be charted and available on my website as soon as I pull my finger out and get round to putting it up, if anyone wants to stitch it as well. So I'm really, really pleased with my bag. It's like a colonial bag, but it's really my Georgian sewing bag. So that's one thing I finished. What else stitching wise? Oh yes, in January I started and finished a little blessing sampler, and I've stuffed it with walnut shells, but I haven't sewn up the hole yet. So I backed it with this lovely fabric, and it's just a little sampler that I made up myself, and it has the name of a family member in here, and I made it into a pin cushion, just red, and I can't remember, this is a red silk of some description, don't know what fabric it is, and a simple little sampler that I could finish in time for the end of January. So I've got that to sew up and stop all my walnut shells spilling everywhere. So that was one of my finishes. I am reproducing a sampler currently, and I'll show you that one. Now, let me find it. What have I done with it? Hang on just a second. Here it is. So I have this hanging on a piece of white paper to make sure you can see it a little better. And this is a Welsh sampler, and her name is Lydia Jones. A little bit tricky to show you, but I've started half of the border and this yellow flowers up here, and then we've got a huge house and a couple standing here, a really beautiful big vase of orange flowers, a bird, oh, there's a sailboat down there, and a stag. Not quite sure what the stags each side, some apple trees. This is a very, very musty old sampler, but I love it. And she was quite difficult to take off the board, so you can still see the little rusty pin marks, well, nail marks where it's nailed onto a board. But Lydia Jones. I have managed to track down a Lydia Jones who was around in this time. She was, oh, it says May 1816, born in May 1816. And the one that I have come across is a Lydia Jones from Anglesey, the Isle of Anglesey in Wales. So I'll try and do a little bit more research on that one. So that's the one I'm stitching at the moment. Let me show you how far I've got. I didn't do much stitching over the holidays because we had family here. So I've got this on a piece of 40 count coffee stain, and this is my progress so far. So I managed to put in some of the border. I've got this little purple animal here, not quite sure what that is, and this vase of yellow flowers in the typical Welsh style, lots of colours in this sampler, and I'll just show you the colours that are involved. So these are going to be the colours of Lydia's sampler. 40 count is great to stitch on. It's my go-to. I can stitch on 46, but I prefer to stitch on 40, and I'm stitching these with 103 there as well, and it's coming out really nicely. And I don't think it's going to be that big, but I'm really looking forward to doing a little bit more progress on this sampler. I shall let you know how I get on. Okay, so that's my stitching, I think, so far. And I've got a little bit of progress on my thimble quilt, and I managed over the holidays to put the edging on. So I had sewn it up to here and then put this piece on, and then I think it was Christmas Eve actually, I sewed on all the way around the thimbles, around the edge. And I put the wadding in, and I've got a lovely red, deep red, I think this is a Moda red fabric for the backing. And I'm hand quilting this myself, so I pop it in my quilt ring. And what I usually do on a hand quilt is do it, you know, just as and when, but this time I'm going to use this tiger tape that you can buy on Amazon. Let me see. And it's on a very thin reel of plastic, sticky plastic, and it has these marks on, and then I've stuck mine on here so I can really do accurate stitching, because it's a shame if your stitching is not how you like it. I won't say not neat or anything, because everybody stitches differently, but I'd really like to see if I can get some uniformity in my stitches. So I'm going to try out this tiger tape and see how I get on. So that's my small little thimble quilt that I'm stitching on at the moment. Okay, right. I've got a few bits of haul that came in over the holidays, and then I'll speak to you about my knitting. So let's have a look. I was in the Cruel Goblin Schoolgirl Sampler Club, if that's what it was called, I can't remember. And I really enjoyed it for 2025. I'm not sure if I will repeat it, only because I haven't got around to stitching any of the charts that I was given. So perhaps I'll have a break next year. So the last one we Adele, two red sampler charts. This one. So this was Adele Coulee, 1897. And it comes beautifully packaged in this lovely kit with fabric, which is Mayflower 40 count from Fox and Rabbit, and Classic Colourworks cranberry silk thread. And then there's another chart that came with it, which is this, and another piece of fabric. And if that's not enough, another piece of fabric that you can make a little pin cushion or pin pillow with the fabric and the binding in the back there. So that was a lovely subscription box, and I highly recommend, if you can get on, I think their lists open this month, so if you can get onto their shipping lists for their Sample Sewing Club, fantastic. So that came in. And then recently I've been looking at extending my hem stitch skills into other things, and I went online and read an Italian blog about white stitching and white pulled thread, and they recommended a couple of these books, so I picked these books up. One is Edith Blocker, 64 Patterns of Pulled Thread Embroidery. So that's that one. It has some lovely patterns. And then it was a series of 3, Retticello by Laura Marzorati, I think that's how you pronounce her name. So a set of 3 books, and this first one is a guide to this stitching. And these are all Italian and 18 euros each. They are written in Italian, but I think the instructions and the photographs are very straightforward in terms of understanding how to do the threads. And then there's a second one, this one here. And of course I'll never get round to doing these intricate designs, but it's fantastic reading. And then this one. And I do have some hardanger fabric and proper linen threads, which I got from, I can't remember where I got them from. I know Yvette Stanton stocks them in her online shop, but I didn't get them from there because they're in Australia. I think I got them from somewhere else, and I think they're called Londonderry linen threads. But I'm going to have a little potter around in the next coming weeks and see if I can start a little bit of white work and hem stitch. I've also got a hem stitch book coming. I did order it, but there was a problem with the delivery, and so hopefully that will come up today, and that shows you more intricate and elaborate hem stitching techniques. So that will be fun for later on this month. Okay, right, I shall just go and move all this and get all my quilting stuff. I forgot to say when I was showing my thimble quilt that the thread that I'm using to hand quilt is the Wonderfill, and it's the 12 weight red thread. This is the bright red, and I think they do a darker red as well, and this is the one I'm using to hand quilt my thimble quilt. Just wanted to share that. Okay, quilt wise, I picked up a few quilt kits. I've no idea when I'm going to start them, but they're always nice to have in your stash, so lots of people tell me. Okay, so the first one, I love Susan Smith's quilt patterns, and my daughter's friends just had a new baby, and I did make her a crib quilt. And I haven't shared that on here, but if I get a photograph from Molly, I will post it and show you the crib quilt. Rebecca, what's the matter with you today? Anyway, this is another one she did, and it's a Jenny Wren crib quilt. So this is available from Hedgerow Friends in the Netherlands. The baby quilt, I made up the pattern myself. I had a baby panel, and Molly loves grown up with horses all her life, and I cut out some stencils of horses and put them on the crib quilt. And then the next kit I saw was a little while ago. I was looking at the Hedgerow Friends site, and they had some video roll of her showing all her quilts, or some of her quilts. And as you know, the pictures never do the patterns justice or the item justice. And I saw this tumbling blocks quilt, and it looked fantastic in the shop. And so I bought the pattern, and it comes with the templates, so the plastic templates, but also the paper templates for the diamonds. And I got the box of fabric that goes with it, and I think this is possibly just starter box or maybe the whole box. So these fantastic fabrics for the tumbler quilt. Just stunning. So that's another one to add to my collection. And I didn't just stop there. She had some Christmas patterns that were for sale, and this is her own design, and it's called Home for Christmas. That's the design of little houses there, and all beautifully wrapped in a Christmas tree pattern are the fabrics for that. This is just a small 27 by 33 inches, 68 by 84 centimetre quilt. So I picked that one up, and also I picked up another one excuse me, which is this star design. It's probably called something, I can't remember what it's called, this design, and some lovely fabrics for that one as well. I have some of these already, but fancied a quilt kit. And with that, they had some lovely brown fabric, floral fabric, which was available. I think this is the end of the bolts, and I picked up these two pieces. I think this is a metre of fabric here, and then a smaller cut here. But look at those gorgeous browns. Oh, I love brown. Super, super, super. And then she had some fat quarter bundles for sale, so I picked up 2 packets. So this is the first packet. That was the second, double packs. And then this is the next packet. So lots of fabric from the Netherlands. I can't wait to go to the Netherlands and have a little pooter around her shop. And there's another shop there which I can't remember the name of off the top of my head, but they are on my bucket list to go and visit. And then I was lucky enough to, at the beginning of December, I think it was, pick up one of the last kits in this range, which is the Merry Little Christmas star quilt in the duck, egg and red colour range. So it's this pattern here, and all the lovely fabrics that go with that design. This is the Tilda fabric, which has this lovely fabric, which is now sold out, I should think, everywhere. So I've got that kit to put together for next Christmas. And then the sewing what's it called? The Sewing Studio, which is in Redruth here in Cornwall, had a sale, and before Christmas I managed to get this beautiful kit, and it's French General Joie de Vivre. Joie de Vivre, yeah, the Joie de Vivre with the lovely fabric. Comes in this gorgeous box. It wasn't hugely discounted, but it was better than the other prices available online, and it comes with the lovely pattern and the stunning French General fabrics. This comes with the backing fabric and everything you need to, apart from the threads, to make the quilt. And so you can make throw size, baby size or runner size. So 3 sizes available, and this pattern is Wishy Washy, and it's by Copper Kettle Quilt Design Company. So I can't wait to start this one. So my quilty friends, if you want to do a start along or a quilt along or whatever, just let me know, and doesn't have to be with these quilts, but if you fancy that, drop us a line. And now I'm going to move on to some knitting. Over the holidays, before the holidays, I made 2 Sophie scarves. I'll put the picture up here, which is by Petite Knit. I think everyone and their wife has made a Sophie scarf, and I made mine out of my Swarbles wool. This sweater is a Swarbles wool sweater. This is the Felix sweater, and I made 2 Sophie scarves. So I made one for my son's girlfriend Hannah, and I made one for myself because they're so quick and easy to knit. I knit mine in 2 days, and I shall put it on so you can see what it's like. Obviously you can't see it very well up on compared to my Swarbles, but it's absolutely beautiful. My Sophie scarf. There are lots of directions online, videos online, that show you how to knit the Sophie scarf, and little tips and tricks. I have to say thank you to Sarah from Penelope's Pocket, because she gave me a little tip to use a bulb pin on each time you do an increase or a decrease, just to keep instead of having to write down, or I used to use my sheep counter. I still do that for my rows and knitting, but that made it go really quickly. So thank you for that tip, Sarah. And I have plenty other Sophie shawls or Sophie scarves to be knitting in the near future. So that is a lovely pattern, and it's a lovely gift, makes a lovely gift if you need a quick gift for somebody. I picked up this beautiful box from Amazon, and it's by Dutch Design brand, and it comes flat packed, and it has these absolutely fantastic exotic birds on it. Parakeets, parrots, hummingbirds. That's the top of the box. This is the bottom of the box. But I thought it was a lovely storage item, and in here I keep my knitting that I'm doing at the moment, and I'll put a photograph in here. This is the Frankie sweater. I'm knitting this for my daughter, and it's a 2-colour striped sweater in this knitting wool, which is Peer Gynt by Sanders Garn. I've not used this wool before, but it's frightfully soft and very gorgeous to knit with. My daughter chose the pattern herself. Let me just get rid of the box a minute. Now, I started this on the 21st of December. She came home from university and I managed to get an accurate size from her, and so we decided to go up from a small to a medium size. And this is my progress so far. I've knitted the whole of the top and the yoke. It has some short rows at the back. It's knit in the round on a 5mm needle, and stand up a minute. It comes up quite cropped, and it has a nice rib finish, and then 5 rows of knit at the end, so that will just roll up nicely, and it has this lovely stripe. So I'm currently knitting this sleeve, and I have this second sleeve to do. I've sewn in all the ends and tidied up the inside, so that's all beautifully done. I like to do that before I do the sleeves, so I know that when I finish the sleeves, the garment is done and I can just wash it and block it, and I don't have to worry about coming back and tidying up the inside with all the ball additions. And also you run your loops down the side where your beginning of the round is, so it all comes up very neatly inside. She's already tried it on. Unfortunately, I didn't finish it in time for her to take back with her this last weekend just gone, but she is coming back for a christening next weekend, and hopefully I will get this finished within that time. So that's all I have to show you today. Thank you for listening, and thank you for dropping by and saying hello. I've so enjoyed today and sharing with you all the little bits and pieces that I've been doing over the last few weeks. I hope you have a lovely January, and I will be back with you very soon to share more lovely stitchy progress. Okay, everybody, have a very happy January. Bye bye.